Okay, this is Tony Teora. I'm here in a town called Kushiro. It's in northern Japan in an area called Hokkaido. I flew out a couple days ago, a little bit nervous about the whole situation in Tokyo. A lot of the shelves were getting bare because people were picking up, water, battery, supplies. On that Tuesday, we got our first reports of radiation, levels that weren't like your normal background radiation. I think it was 20 to 30 times normal, which, a lot of the news reports keep stating that it's not such a big deal. We're getting less radiation than going to a dentist, or maybe the same as going to a dentist. Other areas were getting a little more than a dentist jolt of radiation. They were getting, levels if you were going to get like an x-ray or something like that. But then again, I don't think, we're getting x-rays, every single day, or multiple x-rays every single day is a very good thing. And the Japanese government hasn't been, very forthcoming. After, I flew out around 7:55 in the morning on Tuesday, and I arrived in the town of Kushiro around 9:30 or so. Around 10, they had another explosion with all kinds of stuff, spewing out one of the reactors. If you can see it on the news, there's like 4 main nuclear reactors, and there's 2 to the side, but all of them seem to have some kind of trouble, and I think there's been, up to 4 explosions. But the scary thing in a way for a lot of people was that the Japanese government really isn't giving any news. After I came up here for 2 days, the Prime Minister didn't say anything. So people really didn't know what level of radiation they were getting or what was really going on. There's some stuff on YouTube that's getting pretty paranoid. People are showing videos of Tokyo where basically that in Tokyo, they're watching like game shows, people laughing, having a good time, telling jokes, and I saw some of that. I mean, there is still news out there on other channels, but I guess it's television. I think it's probably good that there's some entertainment. On the other hand, I think that some people feel there's like a conspiracy not to give people the information, just try to keep them happy. Some of the news told people in some of the northern sections that just stay in your house, get a mask and try not to breathe the air when you go outside. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but they said to try not to go outside and try not to breathe the air outside and just wear your mask. So, I know they're trying to do what they can. They're trying to avoid a panic. They're now having some really big trouble getting gasoline to the area where Fukushima's at because the roads are all screwed up and everybody's driving now, to try to get out of there. And the roads are broken. They couldn't get gasoline. So without gas, they can't run the generators. They can't do certain things. They can't power up the fire trucks and whatnot. But it seems like, I don't know if America's helping or Japan Defense Forces got gasoline in there or whatever, but the fire trucks are, they're out there and they're pumping water on these reactors trying to keep these rods from cooling. I'm told, from what I've read that, it's got to get to like 2,000 Celsius, not, like they were up to 100 Celsius, which is basically, we live in the Fahrenheit world, it's boiling point. It's like 300 and some degrees, and is what these rods were at. So they got quite a ways to go before they're going to totally like pop and burst and blow out tons of radiation, hopefully. The problem is that most of the Americans and foreigners living here don't really trust the news because they really haven't been forthcoming. And it would have been nice to know when I was in Shinjuku that radiation was coming that day, if I would have seen that, or the levels, so you kind of like can prepare and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to get a couple, x-rays today, and but it's not going to be so bad. There's no real mapping until recently of any radiation paths, so and plus not getting news was not good. I got a little nervous when I saw people just taking up all the stocks and supplies in Tokyo, and flew out as soon as I could to this town called Kushiro, which, I hate to be studying like nuclear winter, weather patterns, but because of the jet stream and whatnot, the funny thing is this area is predicted to get less radiation than my friends in San Diego. Although by the time it gets to San Diego, it should be really, really low. The amount, percent of rads or really subverts or whatever they call it, that I was looking at on the map was, extremely minimal. So as long as it stays like it is, the United States and the West Coast will probably, get a minimal, amount of radiation. But if the weather patterns change here, on the other hand, which it looks like they're going to do in the next day or two, we could get a whole bunch of radiation floating all over Tokyo and Fukushima in that area there. The levels, nobody's really able to predict the amount because we're not getting the news, which is pissing a lot of people off. Up in Hokkaido, I don't know if it's because I'm in Hokkaido or because they're starting to get more news stations talking about this, but the radiation and whatnot is on most of the channels. We don't have too many goofy, TV shows up here unless it's, getting late at night. Most of this stuff is pretty serious, talking about how the Japan Defense Forces were dropping water from helicopters. Now, mind you, those reactors, a lot of them blew up. If you can see the pictures, you can see the containment areas that these pictures, of the buildings, like, blown apart. So, the rods in some areas, I'm told, are exposed, and they're just trying to keep it cool, but they need to have really high-pressure water to do this, so just dropping it on there is a desperate attempt to keep it cool. I don't know what they're going to do and what the long-term solution is. I heard that they ran a cable, to the building, so they're finally going to get power back and they can, pump water. But that was going to take another 19 hours after the cables got there. I think it's probably a good 10 or 15 hours into that project. So I'm hoping that they can get power, that they can, start fixing some of this. The problem is for the workers that are there. They're working on shifts, and people are calling them heroes, which really means that they have a good chance of dying. The radiation's pretty bad from what I hear. So, but if they can't, fix this, if these folks can't fix it, then nobody's going to be able to work there. It'll turn into another Chernobyl. Now, I'm told from what I read and some of the news that these reactors are by, General Electric, and, they have better containment than the reactors that Russia had, so the chances of a complete meltdown, are less. But then again, I don't know if they planned in their designs to have a 9.0 earthquake and also a, 60-foot tsunami. So we'll see what happens. That's why I wrote in my last video that we are in uncharted territory. Now, I was planning, to continue writing out here. I'm working on a couple sci-fi novels, and I was working on a script, actually. I finally got, an agent and two agents, actually. One for writing now that's going to look at my next book. He's out of New York, and I have another person who is worked in Hollywood, worked in Paramount. His name is Eddie, and Eddie told me I should just get back to Julian. So, I really wanted to try to make some money with this business because my wife's Japanese and stay out here, but I just can't see, with rolling blackouts, with having, maybe the air conditioning off. Summer's here pretty hot. It's like 90 degrees with 90% humidity. It's kind of like living in New York or New Jersey where I grew up, but probably a little bit worse. And that's just not going to be fun. So even though I have an office here, I have a couple months rented, we've paid, planning on doing all this stuff and had meetings scheduled. I'm probably just going to fly back. I actually have a flight leaving on Monday, where I'll get back to LA if everything goes well on Monday, because of the time difference. I'm going to fly west towards from Hokkaido towards Korea to try to avoid any potential nuclear radiation issues. If it expands, hopefully it'll be fine. And I'm just being a little paranoid. I could have flown to Tokyo, but I'm just not into flying back to Tokyo just in case these reactors and the wind patterns change. And who knows? I could maybe not go there, or I might just get stuck there, and that wouldn't be fun. So I'm going to go to Seoul, and then from Seoul I have a direct flight to LA. The area here in Hokkaido looks really, really nice. The stores are totally different than what it was in Tokyo. My wife's parents had a really nice dinner for me. I love sushi, so I had some of the best sushi in the world last night. It was really fun. I felt almost guilty, drinking good California wine and having sushi, and then watching the news and seeing all these thousands of people that are starving. I plan on contributing some money I don't have a regular job right now because I stopped to do this business, but we've already tried to help some people. We sent supplies to Tokyo for one of my wife's friends who, was having some trouble getting food, and so we sent supplies to her. We also going to allow her to go into my furnished apartment that, I paid for electric and everything for 2 months, and being an American, I stocked up even before there was radiation exposure, because I tend to eat too much, unfortunately, and I was thinking of cutting that down, but it was a good thing that I actually did stock up my freezer, and I put all the the milk and juices and things in the freezer, so she will have that. I hope it's really not that bad in Tokyo, but I don't know. When I left, it was getting pretty bad. I have some friends there that I spoke to, and it sounds like things like milk and bread are still an issue, but if you want to drink soda, or you want to drink beer, that seems like it's pretty well stocked. I saw them actually stocking that when I was leaving. It's just some of the essentials that for kids and things like that I think will be a problem down the road. The radiation, that's really a whole game changer. If the radiation increases down there. Right now, I like to consider myself a scientist. I studied a lot of physics in school, and I'm an engineer, and I don't want to be paranoid by it. I mean, the truth is that if the levels that they're telling us are correct so far, it's not a big deal in Tokyo. The thing that concerns me the most is that we have 6 nuclear reactors, and there's some of what I've heard, some of the biggest in the world. And if they have a meltdown, and you get radioactive gases all over that area towards Tokyo, it's going to be a massive panic. So I'm trying to avoid that. And also, I had to make a decision whether I do this business out there, and write at night, which was my plans, or not do the business, because it's going to cost a lot of money to do this business. Just getting it set up, I've already put thousands and thousands of dollars into this venture. But I don't want to continue putting good money after something that may not work real well, and I don't want to sound like I'm being a chicken. It's just that without the electric, even if they resolve the nuclear issue, which I'm hoping and I think hopefully they will resolve it, they're going to lose a lot of electricity, and there already is some radiation problems, because up to 30 miles, they're telling people not to go outside. I think the United States said 50 miles. It's a little crazy. So there's definitely some radiation in that area. And especially, like I said earlier, since the Prime Minister doesn't say anything, it just makes us foreigners living here a lot more nervous. So based upon that, I am, I'm heading back to the U.S. If things change in a couple months, I'll come back. I'm a little disappointed that my wife Komiki, she thinks it's pretty safe here, and I kind of agree with her, and it's very calm. But she's gonna stay with her parents for a little bit longer, and I'm trying to convince her to come with me. And if things get bad, of course we'll fly out her parents to California or to the East Coast or whatever. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, because we're like hundreds and hundreds of miles away from the plant. If she has to evacuate, that means that millions of people are probably dying, in the main island, which would be really, really bad. And so I hope that doesn't happen. Well, this will probably be my last video from Japan. I'm in, Kushiro, Sapporo. This is Tony Teora trying to live my life. Take care, guys.